delicious carbonara. I've got some water already heating up to boil because I learned my lesson last week. But the things you're going to need is a package of bacon, a package of long noodles, basically spaghetti, linguine. You could do angel hair, I suppose. But anything long. Basically, the short noodles won't work. We put red peppers in it, and you're also going to need some garlic, which I'm going to begin by mincing the garlic.
This is pickled garlic, so it is incredibly easy to mince compared to normal garlic, as you will notice with the knife going straight through as opposed to what it normally takes to chop garlic.
Yeah. Once a year, I like to buy a whole bunch of garlic and just pickle a bunch of it. You end up with a much, much more mellow flavor. Still very garlicky, but without the heat that you get with garlic, traditionally.
And it keeps better.
It also keeps better. Thus, the once a year buying a whole bunch of garlic, pickling it. At some point in the future, if I get a lot of people actually watching this show, I might do the pickling process. But unless there's what do you call it? Oh, don't put those in quite yet.
Spoiling.
But this is going to take 10 minutes.
Alright.
Anyways, unless there's actually people watching and like asking questions or something, it'd be a very boring video otherwise. Just me sitting there peeling cloves of garlic for hours. Okay, so got the garlic cut up. Let's see here. Yay, sharp knives. There we go.
Still not the best way to do that.
Well, yeah, but I didn't want to get another thing dirty.
You just put it down on the cutting board and take the tip of the knife and do that same thing. A lot safer than up in the air.
Okay. Mrs. I know how not to lose a finger over there.
Having already done so once, I am well aware not to do things again.
This is true.
Although I didn't do it like that because I'm not stupid.
No. You're going to want to basically mince the bacon. That's what the word is.
Bits that are completely fat, leave off to the side, and we'll decide whether to add them in the end.
Well, or we can render them if you want later.
Yeah. I just mean don't put them in the carbonara.
Here. Actually, if you want to grab a container for me.
Yes.
There we go. Tomorrow I can do that. Can have some more bacon fat for cooking things. Yes. That worked rather well the other day. And we have already cut up the peppers. I like to buy a bag of sweet peppers and mince them,
Freeze them.
and then freeze them. I was thinking if that's a dice or a mince that I have, but technically it might be a dice. I don't know. I like to cut
I don't know,
them.
they're pretty tiny bits of pepper.
I like to cut them into tiny
little
pieces.
peppers.
There we go. Plate or cutting board of bacon. You can put a lid on the bacon fat and put it away. This will have plenty. No, leave.
Here's the answer.
Yep. Okay. So, I've got about a tablespoon of margarine on the pan, and gonna do about a tablespoon of oil and start that heating. And at this point, you can break the spaghetti in half.
Do you want to cross-cut any of that bacon, or the
No,
strips?
it's strips. They're already cut.
Okay, because they're really just... Okay. really thin strips. So
Yeah.
you just got to do a good job breaking it up.
We like to break our noodles in half. Speaking of breaking things up.
Generally, it's a good idea to only try to do that with half the package at once.
I'm used to doing it with linguine, and
Which is easier, yes.
It breaks differently.
This is spaghetti. It does not break easily.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm okay. If you don't have any bell sweet peppers or anything, a dash of Aleppo pepper works wonders in this as well. Or, standard red pepper flakes if you're into that type of thing.
Or, some other sort of vegetable like onions or green peppers or something else that you can do a nice dice and it'll end up soft.
There you
I
go.
like kind of those options, which is why we do red.
Which is
But
why we
still,
do red.
they are options.
So the peppers, the bacon, and the garlic all go in at this point. Yeah. Thank you. I'm just going to use my hands for this. Not for the bacon, though. The bacon is going to shrink quite a bit as it cooks. Oh, I didn't set a timer. I should probably do that.
Yes, timer for 10 minutes for the noodles.
9 minutes at this point, so I'll check. So, the other thing you're going to want to do, and this is set to medium-high heat at the moment, you'll want to crack 2 eggs into a bowl and then mix them up really, really well.
The term is beat.
Beat. I just don't have my terms tonight. I suppose beating and mixing up really well convey the same thing.
Yes. One is just a cooking term and one is a description.
Yes. That's probably good. Let that sit for a moment.
Bacon looks funny in little strips because it like curls up.
Yep.
I'm not used to little strips.
Yeah. For those of you on the West Coast, Winco sells packages of bacon ends and pieces, which is basically what's left over after they cut the strips out of the pig.
It is the cheapest way to get
It's
bacon,
so
and it is
cheap.
actually extremely useful. It does require some processing because they're weird hunks of various shapes vacuum sealed into a little pack. But you take those apart, and then you mince up the actual bacon meat, and then you put the bacon fat in the freezer or render it down, and it's wonderful because then you just have little bits of non-fatty bacon whenever you need to.
Yeah.
We highly miss Winco and their delicious bacon ends and pieces, but people around here do not sell that.
They don't, unfortunately.
Although, we should probably try to find one of those meat CSAs and ask them if we could get it from them. They might.
We should look into that. Need this to cook a little bit more. That's starting to get delicious smelling. You want the bacon to get fully cooked before the next step, which is adding the wine.
Because
because it's what to do. It's just basically the bacon doesn't render properly once you put the wine in.
There you go.
So you want it to actually render down and get the fats released before you add the wine.
Wine's really just to make all that deliciousness into a sauce that'll distribute nicely.
Yeah.
And add flavor itself.
But if you do not do wine in your house, you can do this without the wine. And it will also work that way.
Of course, the wine cooks off, so it's not like there's alcohol in it when you're done.
Yeah, true. Yeah. If you're doing cooking with wine correctly, all of the alcohol is burned off by the time it gets to your mouth. You should also note that you really don't need to use good wine for cooking. We like to use Stutterhome or
Sutterhome.
Sutterhome.
I know you add the extra tea, but
I always do that. Sutterhome. Or occasionally we'll buy the Bigfoot, or I was going to say the stuff you can get in the gallon jugs.
I never remember their name.
I remember their name. Something Italianish. Okay.
And the penny jar is gone. And that was our last one of them, so I don't have a way to look it up.
That's okay. Okay. That is cooked sufficiently. One of these little mini bottles of wine is actually about a little bit more than 3/4 a cup.
So for this amount of bacon, pretty good.
Yeah.
Usually we don't make this in quite as high of a quantity.
Yeah, often we'll make half a box worth of noodles, half a package of bacon, but we wanted leftovers.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to turn that down to medium.
And then just let it simmer.
And then just let it simmer. Once the noodles are done, what I'm going to do is bring them over to the sink and drain them very quickly, then put the noodles immediately back in the container. It's important. Do not rinse them.
Or let them cool.
Or let them cool. Speed is definitely a necessity for making a carbonara. Yep. Still not cooked yet.
Yeah, there's 4 minutes left. Of course they're not cooked yet. You and your half-cooked noodle eating.
But I'm hungry now. Actually, I'm going to steal a piece of the bacon. Speaking of being hungry now.
So what should we talk about for 3 minutes?
I don't know. It's snowing where we are today. Actually, again, a bit of accumulation.
Actually, what's hilarious at the moment is that you went out barefoot to get that little piece, and so there's little barefoot steps in the snow.
Okay, that is pretty funny.
Especially funny next to the giant boots from when JB came over.
Yes. That is actually legitimately amusing. Good job, Jesse. You don't need to move the bacon around like I'm doing. I'm just restless.
And for anybody who's wondering, the fact that he's been using the same fork for both the bacon and the noodles is not a problem, only because the noodles are boiling.
Yes.
Normally you would not do that, but since you're sticking a bacon-covered thing into boiling water, it technically gets, sterilized.
Mm-hmm. The scooting things around also in the hot liquid also helps with that. Yeah.
Just don't scoot it too much, because then it won't simmer right.
No, it's simmering fine. Smells very, very good. Beep.
1 minute warning. Now you can check the noodles. Let's see if the 1 minute warning is actually accurate or not.
I mean, I could have probably eaten the noodles in the 4 minutes.
I know. And those will not be done in 30 seconds. They're
Yeah.
going to need a full minute past the current doneness.
Yeah.
There you go.
1 extra minute. And the wine sauce no longer smells like alcohol, so all the ethanol is burned off. Just gonna grab that large piece of garlic that not chopped properly. That'll be for me. That's very tasty. Turn the heat off on this one. Done enough for you?
Alright, can be. I'd still prefer more
I don't
done,
know.
but I don't know if spaghetti actually does that. We don't eat spaghetti very often.
Okay, I'm gonna have you move out of the way.
Yep.
Ah, hot handles.
Yes. That pan does not have the nicest handles for it. Right? Nope. Shake, shake, shake.
And you want most of the water out, but you definitely don't need all of the water. Okay. Now, egg goes in. I've got more. Ouch. You want to keep it stirring and moving around. The residual heat of the noodles is what cooks your 2 eggs that were just put in.
You want me to tongs this?
Yes, if you've got the tongs now.
Tongs are more effective than
Tongs are
fork.
definitely more effective than the fork.
So you'll probably want to hold this up so people can see all the
Yeah,
nicely curdled eggs.
Well, so curdled is the wrong word. Cooked is the right word.
Okay, now that
Give it another minute of moving around.
Why? They're all cooked.
Just to break it up a bit more. So now, this lovely skillet just gets dumped in its entirety.
If your bacon was particularly fatty and you don't want quite that much oil going into it, then, don't put all the oil into it. That's up to you.
Carbonara is not supposed to be healthy. It's supposed
No.
to be
It's supposed to be delicious.
delicious, yes.
This one is a particularly bacony batch.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
I do not. It's a delicious thing. It's just been a while since we made carbonara, so we couldn't quite remember the ratio.
Yeah.
Not that this is a bad ratio or anything.
Err on the side of too much bacon.
Your eggs will become slightly uncooked and untethered when you add all that oil, but that's okay. No.
One for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I can't reach over very well. No.
There we go. So, delicious carbonara. I appreciate you joining us and hope you enjoy as well.